Welcome to A Home to Love. For those that are new here, my name is Delina. Today we start 2025's Christmas decorating. Yay! I know some of you are saying it's a little early. It's November. I missed last week. I am so sorry. I had a septic repair that needed to be redone. I had doctor's appointments, and to be completely transparent with you, I was so overwhelmed when my husband took all the Christmas stuff down out of the attic. I looked at all the stuff and thought, I'm over my head and I have no idea what I'm doing. I needed that week to kind of regroup and kind of look over what I had and try to get a game plan together. As of today, I am 95% done with the kitchen. So you're going to see some real-time decorating. For those that don't know, I usually decorate it, tear it back down, and redecorate it for you so that I don't waste time on camera for trying to figure things out. I have done a few real-time decorating where you see kind of the back and forth that I do. Yeah, it's not fun to watch. It's not fun for me because it causes anxiety to build up. So I took that week off, and instead of decorating, I did a little bit and then I ran off and went antiquing. Got some really cool things. I met one of my friends here on YouTube, one of the viewers. Her name is Lee. Hey Lee, loved seeing you guys and meeting your husband and talking you into buying that picture. If you all could do me a favor, and if you pray, could you pray for Lee? Lee is got some health concerns, and she's looking to get on a heart transplant list. So she could really use our prayers. So again, for Lee, I believe that God can work miracles, and I believe that God can guide the surgeon's hands, doctor's hands. I pray for her, and I pray for those out there that need those prayers. If you mention them in the comments, if we're chit-chatting and you mention something, I do pray for you. I really do. I believe sometimes that's all we can do, and especially in today's world. Okay, enough with the heaviness. I don't like to get into that. So, Christmas. Where am I going for Christmas? You're probably wondering. You've seen everybody going, oh, Ralph Lauren, traditional Christmas. I did that last year. I did the red and green and the traditional plaids, and I loved it. In fact, when I leave the house, I let Maverick sit and watch my videos. I put them on like the shuffle loop and let him watch the ads so he makes me money. Gotta earn his keep. We went to leave and I put on, and wouldn't you know, it was last year's home tour. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, nothing like adding more pressure to me. It was beautiful last year. I have to admit, it was probably one of my most favorite ones that I've done, on film or off. This year I went a little bit different. I'm not doing the grand big tree. I'm doing a pencil tree. So I can show you what an average Christmas looks like. I did the vintage. I'm going vintage. I am going more natural with doing greens, browns, creams, little bits of burgundy mixed in, lots of greenery, lots of florals, dried and silk. I wanted a bit calmer of a Christmas. So, without further ado, we're in the kitchen today, where I always start off my Christmas videos for the year. All right. You see I've decorated a little bit. I am going to break some of it down, and then we're going to get started. Okay, I have turned the camera around, and this is like the entrance from my living room, dining room into my kitchen. This is that DIY plate rack that my husband and I built. There's a video on the channel if you would like to see how we built it for under $50. Now, I displayed my cutting boards and I changed them out for the seasons. I have 2 Christmas tree cutting boards. One was thrifted, the green one. The white and wood one, I got it from Aldi's last year. Moving up, I have those 2 little reindeer antler cutting boards. Those came from Dollar Tree a couple of years ago. And then I left the one on top as like I always do. Now, coming in to my kitchen, some of the things I've left because it just makes more sense for me to walk you through it. And some we'll decorate together. We have the coffee bar over here by the refrigerator. I have left my copper accents, and you'll see where that comes to play later on too, in the living room. So we have our Keurig. I have that coffee can, or the sugar canister here with the copper. Moving up, I left the 2 covered pedestals with the cloches. One's faux bagels from Hobby Lobby. The other one has little copper molds in it. And then the little copper colander I thrifted, and all it's got is some little picks that were in the bottom of the bag. Again, I thrifted this copper piece, and it holds our spoons for our coffee. Moving up to the second one, I have some vintage cookbooks, a replica vintage coffee mill that I got from Amazon. The scale was last year's birthday gift from Hobby Lobby, and I did some dark wax on it to make it look older. And just some faux rosemary. And the brick wallpaper, I always mention this, comes from Amazon. We are going to get started on top of my refrigerator, where I treat it like an open shelf. But first, we're going to decorate some of the things down here before I put them up top. Okay. On top of there, you saw I had some candles. Those have the LED battery operated. They come with the timer. Don't have to mess with them, thank goodness. Now, on top of the refrigerator, I decided that I was going to do a lot of baskets and neutrals and kind of take that theme. That's where I started. So I have some baskets. I always thrift them. In here, I have just some pine cones from my yard because we know that the hurricane hit last year, and I collected bags full of pine cones because I knew I wouldn't get as many with all the trees that we had to cut down. These I thrifted. They're just little white, really little tiny berry clusters, and I just stuffed them in there, as you can see. And that's the first basket. The second one that I did, again, another thrifted basket. Now this one, I'm gonna bring you guys a little closer. All right. This one has a piece of fabric that was my starting off and my jumping point. It's got the tan, the green, the beige. Thrifting, found a piece of it, but it originally came from Hobby Lobby. I went back to look, they didn't have any. Inside this basket, I have a towel put down in there to fill up the majority of the basket so I didn't have to, these things would sit down in them better. This is just garland that I thrifted. I wrapped it around the outer edge of the basket. Okay. Inside, I have a bed warmer that is brass. You remember these? These are my shuttle looms that I got from the antiques thrift stop that we did with my husband. I put them down in there. I thought they almost looked like skis. And it worked. And then I had this little Noel sign that I painted. It was green. I painted it to look like wood. I think it came from Dollar General. And I plot that kind of in here. And then I took some green berries right here. And that'll tie in on the other side to the deep freeze. Okay, we're gonna go up and I'm gonna show you what I do on top of the refrigerator. Okay, up here I've got some books that I use for risers. I have a Christmas tree from last year's Hobby Lobby. It's got the cedar and the pine with the little wicker basket. I have 3 candles with the LED battery operated. Up here is a plate stand from Hobby Lobby with a doily on top of it. So you don't even see this when I'm all said and done. I am going to set that large basket with all the antique stuff on here. Kind of adjusting as I go so you can see things from down below. That Noel sign never quite wants to sit like it's supposed to. I have to kind of manipulate it. There we go. Now, I have a pine cone paperweight sitting up here. And I've taken those candles. I've got the tallest one in the back. And then the middle one right there. And I kind of maneuver those around, okay? Now, the next thing I'm gonna put up there is that basket full of pine cones. And I know this is a weird angle, and I will give you a better shot of it. You're up on a chair, so it makes it very difficult. And if you hear something, the cat is drinking water while I'm filming. Because, hey, that's the best time. Yeah, you hear Jasper in the background. To annoy Mom is why she's filming. Now, I do have one more little basket that I made with some fern and some odd picks and this and that. This one I kind of I tuck it in the back to kind of hide that angle because I want it to be seen from all angles. Okay, I am going to turn the camera around and give you a better look at this. Here's that plate or plant stand. It's wood from Hobby Lobby that sits up on. Then the candles, the basket, and the pine. Now, when I step down, you're gonna see. This is what it looks like from down below. So you could just see it's a slight interest. Turn this way, turn that way. And if you were wondering how I get that angle, yeah, I'm always afraid it's gonna fall, but I've got no other way of doing it. All right, moving on. This is what it kind of looks like all together. All right, this is my spice rack. For those that have been with me a while, you know, and I got it at a yard sale and turned it into the spice rack. I did change out above it. That is a Hobby Lobby pitcher in the middle. The 2 platters are ironstone platters, but you know, I'm thinking about changing them out. If I could find some brown transferware, I would do it. 3 mashers with some picks. Some gold candlesticks with some more picks. Nothing fancy. And those are also on timers, those green candlesticks. Now, moving over. This is my laundry room. Above it is an old tin sign. I have had that faux window up there for a while. I just changed it out to a more neutral Christmas wreath. My copper collection, all I did was add a few more copper pieces and copper bells. Now we're gonna move on up to the top of the freezer. Okay, up here I have a round cutting board, a very large one that I got from Aldi's. On top of that is one of those bottle drying racks that people use them for coffee mug holders. Thrifted that. It's quite large. What I've done is I've taken a bowl and put it in the middle. Okay, wrapped a ribbon around it and stuck a little faux Christmas tree in the top. Now, around it, I have these mugs that I thrifted last year and put them up for this year. I have a swag that I thrifted from Hobby Lobby. I put some faux berries, some fairy lights, and a nutcracker that I stained from Hobby Lobby. Now, I think I put it there, and then I hooked them on. Now you could have ornaments, baubles coming out of these cups, would be exceedingly cute, and I still may do that. And I think I can turn on. Okay, there we go. That's what it looks like with the lights. Now I'm going to step down so you guys can get a better idea of what we're dealing with. And that's what that looks like up there. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I haven't been feeling that great. But I think it's really cute. It kind of mimics a Christmas tree. So, all right, moving down, you see my antique copper molds, or I antiqued those copper molds. Those are still up. Moving down to the countertop. All right. Microwave, still there with my cutting boards. Toaster, of course. Moved my bread box that I thrifted down here on the counter. You hear Jasper in the back talking. I have a candle warmer. I have it came from Walmart. It is the Farm Pumpkin and Apple. Oh, does it smell fantastic. Kitchen sink. New riser. This is a shelf that I got thrifting. These are wooden snowmen from Hobby Lobby. Buy them in packets. I turn them upside down and use them as feet. And then I painted the whole thing moss green chalk paint and dark waxed it. And that's, and then drifted lamp with a wreath around it. And this is where we're starting with the countertop. All right, I have this wood frame. You can buy them from Dollar General, and I painted the Merry Christmas thing in the inside. And I'm just gonna place that kind of in here. And I will give you a closer look when I'm done. I have a doily. You know, I always have to have a doily. Sitting there, my mortar and pestle up there. I have a little swag with some sticks, some pine, and a pine cone. And we are just gonna set that right up in there, moving things around so that everything is usable. Now, again, with the cookbooks, set of 3, always do the set of 3. I'm going to set that between this bread box and the candle warmer. Now, the candle warmer is far enough away that it doesn't, there's no risk of fire. So I'll turn the camera around, give you a closer look. And that's what this looks like all together. Really simple, but it has to be functional. All right, moving on to the other side. Okay, I'm going to start with a small book and a doily. And I'm going to put that at the other end. So, there, with the doily. top of that, I have a white pitcher with some cedar stems inside of it. And then I have a smaller white pitcher, and I'm going to place those at the end. Okay, behind that small little white pitcher, we've got a little crock with some vintage kitchen utensils and a spool for height. And I'm going to place that white pitcher right in front of it. That's what you get. Now, in this spot is the item that's coming from Amazon. But we're going to put a copper mold as a placeholder for right now. Then we have the lamp, that wreath. Over here, I have a campfire DIY tin that I made. On top of it, I have a saucer, a timer from Target with a close over top of it. And then in front of it, I've got a little sifter, a little green handle. Love my nails. Love the color shift. With some silver spoons. And that's all there is to that riser. Now, above my sink is a window. And on this window, I've got those tea-stained Battenberg panels that I showed you from weeks before's video. All I've done is I've got some garland from Hobby Lobby, that like trailing moss. And then I've taken 2 different kinds of garland, wrapped them together, and just swag them across. Now, I may add more to this. You'll have to see when I do the home tour if I add more or if I leave it. And then all we've got left, the tea towel I thrifted. We have my island that my husband, my son, and myself put together. Now, above it, I have a chandelier. On the chandelier, I just have some candle rings that I put, and then just some picks to cover that chain. And then on the island itself, I have a tray that I bought from Ross years ago. I have a cookbook stand that I thrifted, and I put a book on here. I've got that scallop plate stand from Walmart that I managed to pick up the last one, with just a wreath and a candle and a couple little tiny gold reindeer. I'm gonna turn you around this way. Pick here, and then those copper salt and pepper grinders from Target. And that's all there is to my kitchen. I am going to give you a tour now. thank you so much for watching. And I know this is a little off. If you've been with me, you know that I lost my little dog Axel a couple weeks ago. I noticed today that our almost 16-year-old tortoiseshell cat is not doing really well. We know she's had some health issues. She's nearing the end of her life. The vet says she's about, last time she was in, she's about halfway to total renal failure. There's not much we can do, but I've been kind of distracted. So if that's what you're seeing today, where today's video is not quite my usual, that's why. I keep watching her. She's kind of staggering a little bit, and she doesn't seem to be acting totally right. I am probably going to end the video here, and I'm probably going to call the vet. So thank you so much for watching, and I promise the next videos are going to be better. I promise, okay? We are going to be in the dining room next week, and you don't want to miss that. So I will see you all next week.